Meanwhile, we are less than a half an hour away from President Trump's Made in America product showcase. The event is coming as the president is enjoying his highest approval ratings ever. How do you like that, especially when it comes to the economy? 45% of the country now approves of the job the president is doing, thanks in large part to a huge swath of Republicans, 88% of whom are behind him. And half the country, Democrats and Republicans, approve of the way he's handling our economy. That's up 8 points from October. Joining me right now, Republican pollster Chris Wilson. Hey, Chris.
Hey there, Trish.
You surprised by any of this?
Well, one of the biggest predictors of midterm electoral success is the economy. And I think it is really important that the president is spending his time focusing on the economy. And it's nice to see to get away from some of the other issues that have been distracting over the course of the last few months and to spend time on this. But so am I surprised on it? No. I think the 88% number is pretty remarkable, though, when you think about it. I think it'd be hard-pressed to find 88% of people who approve of their own mother at some points during the course of the year. So to see that level of approval with Republicans, I think, is impressive. And also to see, and I see this a lot of times in the work that we do in the states, where we do focus groups with swing voters, independents, conservative Democrats, where they'll make comments about they really appreciate the job the president's doing on the economy, may not appreciate some of the things that happen on Twitter or the personal action. But I think it's hard. People are hard-pressed right now to find a complaint with the way the economy is going. Yeah.
Well, as I've said from the beginning, he's got some very, very good economic policies. The tax cuts, that's good. We want to enable less regulation. That's good. You want to enable businesses to be out there innovating and investing and hiring. And hopefully we'll start to see some real wage growth start to pick up as well. But I think there is an optimism, Chris, that he has helped Americans tap into. In other words, for too long, and one of my biggest criticisms of President Obama, coming from an economic perspective, was that we get a good jobs report, right? I mean, they weren't that frequent, but we get a decent one, right? Or the market would do better. There'd be some bit of good economic news. And instead of saying, see, look, we're moving in the right direction, America, tomorrow's another day. Instead, we get, well, it's okay, but, we need to do better, blah, blah, blah. This president, of course, Chris, is completely the opposite. Any little bit of good news he runs with. But in some ways, that's very helpful because the president is setting the tone, right, for the country. And people want to feel confident about their future. They want to feel like their economy's moving forward. And let me ask you, in terms of polling numbers, when people feel better about their future, how much does that then impact how they're feeling about their president?
Well, their president and their member of Congress. And to reiterate some of the points that you just made, I think Republicans were very smart from the outset of the swearing in of President Trump to begin to roll back regulations. They did it through the Regulatory Reform Act. President Trump did it through executive order. Then they were able to cut taxes. And so it turns out that less regulation and low taxes are a pro-growth agenda, despite everything that the Obama administration would have had you believe, where they had their high tax, high regulation agenda and say, oh, well, let's look, the economy can still get through with no matter how much we strangle it. And so as we look to the impact of that on individual members and the president itself, I think you can see it's reflected in the numbers you just mentioned, specific to President Trump. And then I see it again in races I'm doing. I'm involved in 6 Senate races, 8 governor's races, in which we see over and over again that those candidates, whether they're running for Governor Greg Abbott in the state of Texas, where you see record approval ratings because of the economy in the state of Texas. He's no longer having to fight against the federal government. And you see that occurring with Republicans that are running for governor gubernatorial offices, Republicans who are running to pick up Democrat-held Senate seats. It really is, from a standpoint of when you've got the party in power that is the Republicans, it's really tough sometimes to motivate people to get out and vote in an off-year election because you're asking them to support the status quo. Well, right now, the status quo is one that is motivational, and people want to continue this economy. So it reflects well on the president, reflects well on Republicans running for the House, the Senate, and for gubernatorial offices across the country.
We'll keep watching it. Chris, good to see you. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. All right.